Hey there, this is Mariah with 50 Flowers. Today I want to do a huge comprehensive analysis of every, the top 10 vases that you're going to see come out of a flower shop or that will be designed with. So the first thing when you're thinking about a vase is think about what your event is, whether it's a wedding ceremony where you want something all around, or maybe it's a cocktail table where you want something all around but smaller for people to see over. You want to base your vase size on the size of the table or the place that you're going to put it, because you want it to be grand, but again, if you're at a table, you don't want it to obscure your view. So the vases I have here are my big boy. These are fancy and decorative. You can find it like a craft store or thrift store or whatever. I've got here what we'll see for like dozen rows. This would be a dozen rose vase. This would be a half dozen. This is a flat tray. That is going to be for flower frogs or for really low, compact, I would say corporate type arrangements. I've got this nice glass crystal here, and this is what I would actually use to put my flower frog in as well. We've got a Holly Chapel compote and a pillow that I will talk about later. You've got your smaller centerpiece vases, and these are going to be your bubble bowl and your cube. I've got a bud vase, a plastic urn, and then I lump these together because they are shaped really thick glass. These are going to be, they could be your dozen rows, but they could also be your very like trendy, whatever arrangement you want to make. You want something taller or a little more sleek. I love these simple lines. So next, you're going to think about how you're going to secure your flowers in all of these. In a vase like this, or like this flat tray, I'm going to use a flower frog like that. And then I'm actually sticking it down to the bottom with this suction cup pad. And you get it wet, and you just press them together, and you press it down in your bowl there, and it doesn't move. And then you just stick your flowers onto that. Another way to design, say, your urn is you're going to want to use chicken wire. And these I've just cut into a, we'll say 1 foot section, and I just kind of crumple it down like that, and I secure it down in there. Now it isn't totally secure, so I am going to want to tape it down. You can't really tape in between, but what I'm going to do is just a simple X across the top, so that when the flowers are in there and they're pulling at the sides of the chicken wire, it's going to hold it down. So I just did a simple X across, and then I will do a tape line around that to hold those pieces of tape down. So another way that I have designed with urns like this, which are going to be used in church arrangements, something really like fanned out, tall, ceremony arrangements, doesn't have to be specific to anything, but it's going to be your really big showy piece. Instead of using chicken wire, you can also use a brick of Oasis foam, and you just place that down in there. And then when I'm working with foam like this, I like to use the green waterproof tape because it will hold everything secure, and when I am making that shape, the tape isn't going to be showing. And again, you just give it a quick, like that. Okay, there you go. Also, do a tape line here. Another thing to keep in mind when you're designing with Oasis like this is you have these lines right here. When you have, holes, you'll have a whole brick of Oasis. You're gonna wanna cut those into triangular pieces or smaller square pieces and fill these up, because when this brick sits here like this and it's getting designed, it's gonna sit there and get really wobbly. So that is another thing to keep in mind when you're designing with an Oasis brick, which you can do in any one of these, but I usually try to stick to a container that is colored like this because I don't like it to show. And then one of the most basic ways that you are going to see almost every arrangement taped is to just see a grid of clear tape on top of your vase. And these ones I do a little more than the X. I'll do 4x4 grid. and this is just gonna hold everything super secure, exactly where I want it, so that when I keep adding those greens, it's making the grid stronger and stronger. And again, I'll go all the way around the vase like this to just make it super strong. Some people can design without using the tape, and some people like to use the tape to boost their design. If you're new to design or if you just feel more comfortable that way, that's totally fine. All right, you got your compote here, and we know it's a compote because it has this bowl shape with the foot attached. And this here is the egg pillow. It's a new thing made by Holly Chapel. It's really amazing, and it's basically an easier way to manufacture what the chicken wire is here. And the chicken wire goes back to the Victorian era, I believe. Tell me down in the comments if I'm wrong, but that is what I have heard. And so you just place them in like that, and you know it's the right size because of how it lines up with the bowl. And there's all sizes of bowls. It goes up in every size you could need. So I will give this guy a little tape, just like that, just like the chicken wire, because I don't want him to move once I start designing, because that's happened to me and it sucks. All right, there we go. Not going anywhere. And see how that budged a little bit? If I have that tape line underneath there, it's gonna hold it, and that wouldn't have happened. All right, let me show you how to tape this guy because he's a biggie. And it's gonna take more than just your 4x4 grid. I like to leave, let's see, when I'm taping something this large, I wanna leave, call that 1.5 inches in between each tape line, because the stems are gonna wanna exist in just that small amount of area. If it gets much bigger, it's gonna start compromising the tape, and it's not gonna stick as well. On an arrangement like this, you don't necessarily have to use tape. You will use tape until maybe you get a little more like confident in your design. But if you wanted to create it without tape, I suggest starting with your greenery or sticks or anything that kind of has like a lot of stems on it, not like a stem of baby eucalyptus that just has the one. I would use seeded eucalyptus that has a bunch of little stems on it. And that is going to create the grid down in the base that this tape grid is doing right now. And I've got 4 lines across, so I'm going to do another 4 lines across the other way. Right. And I design with a knife. It's easier for me, it's kind of second nature by now, but don't feel bad if you need to use scissors or take a little more time to do it. I encourage you to try and design with a knife because it is faster, but if you just don't feel confident, that's okay. Don't need to feel bad about any part of your designing because it's fun and nobody should make you feel bad about it. Okay, so we'll just start our process here. Bring it all the way around and I'm pulling it tight to really activate all that adhesive. Bring it over and I'll overlap it a bit on the back here to just strengthen that. And there's my taped grid. Look at that, super strong. Awesome. All right, well, this has just been a guide on how to tape vases, what vases are, what you're gonna see most popularly, all the different forms of sticking your flowers into your vases. Be sure to like and subscribe to get more awesome content like this, and I'll see you next time.